Yeah.
Americans like anger and conflict.
Yeah. No, literally, that's like our whole like, if you look at media censorship in the States, they're censoring nudity, they're censoring, like, intimacy. In Europe, it's like you can't show any sort of grim violence at all whatsoever, but you can just be a human being. I think it's because this is a country founded on violence.
Oh, sick.
We have, like, a long legacy of violence. It was created to perpetuate that violence, and every day it continues. It's really a bad scenario, and the country shouldn't exist. By existing, it continues to murder people and grind them into dust. And that's why they make Kirby look mean.
Yeah.
Because that's what we like. Because we're like, oh, this is what it's just like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I like about Kirby is not that Kirby is round and cute, but that Kirby is a violent ball that is pissed.
Yeah, well, Kirby is a capable ball. I don't think Kirby is actively malicious.
Well, as an American, I understand what Kirby is doing is purging the land of sin through violence.
Right.
Kirby
No, he's fighting against a monarchy.
That's fair.
A freedom fighter.
Kirby is an anarcho-syndicalist who's going to violently assert the will of all people. Welcome to Haha Yeah.
Welcome to Haha Yeah.
Sort of a show where we ask a couple questions, have a debate on whether or not the moon is acceptable to look at or see,
right,
and learn too much information about hamburgers.
Mm-hmm. Introduce yourself.
My name's Hyperlink. I'm the #1 dog of online.
My name's Cell. I'm the other host.
That's so funny.
Pretty good, right?
Oh, yeah. That's our show. A question for you.
Yeah.
I saw a debate on somebody's Instagram over whether or not it is valid to photograph the moon.
Mm-hmm.
The two sides of the argument are thus.
Right.
On one hand, the smartphone camera is absolutely not capable of capturing the moon in any meaningful way.
Sure.
Looking at a photo and standing outside underneath the moon are borderline incomparable experiences.
Yeah.
So this one camp is like photographing the moon at all is futile. On the other hand, there's something to be said about the beauty and the futility of trying to capture something that is beautiful and important, even though your attempt to capture that will never actually replicate the real experience. So I want to know if you think it's valid to photograph the moon.
I'm like directly going into like fucking high school literature classes, reading like all this critique of photography that like started rearing its head when photography became considered an artistic medium in like the 60s. I think that like, yeah, there is obviously on one level, you're never capturing a good photograph of the moon.
Right.
But on the other hand, it's like, okay, I weigh both of those where it's like the futility of it is beautiful. But thinking about that, it's like, okay, when I take a picture of the moon, do I ever go back to my phone and take a look at that picture of the moon?
Exactly.
And so the question is to be like, okay, what's a picture for? Am I looking at this picture of the moon and being like, oh, I can remember how I was feeling in this moment, this representation of the moon, as blurry as it is, I was like desperately trying to like capture something grand because it only felt grand because I was feeling something in this moment. But on the other hand, it's not necessarily a good representation of that. Mm-hmm. At that point, does photography just become journaling? Is photography meant to be like a medium where you are expressing something to other people? I think, any work of art necessarily is complicated by the viewer and obviously artistic intention, but that doesn't matter, I guess, in this case, because we're talking about the moon. I think that it's not a question of validity. It's a question of looking into yourself and asking, why am I taking a picture of the moon in the first place?
I'm so glad you went to the idea of not going back through your camera roll and actually looking at the photo of the moon again. That was exactly where I went. The first thing I thought of was like, okay, there is something about the people who are saying it's not valid. Full disclosure, I don't think it's valid to photograph the moon.
Really?
I don't think we should be photographing the moon at all. But in doing that, I feel myself get alarmingly close to the people who are like, you shouldn't photograph a concert. That this is an experience that's going to be better in person. But I think that taking a video or a photo at a concert is fine, because I think that experience, even though I'll probably not really go back and rewatch the video of the live performance, that is going to be vastly more likely to put me back in the mental energy and the headspace of being at the concert.
Right.
I think that, as you said, taking a photo of the moon it doesn't reflect the feeling of standing under it, as well as something like being a photo of you in the crowd at the concert does.
Right.
So yeah, I think that because it doesn't really even do a good job of capturing the feeling, it kind of is futile. I think that we should be looking into other ways of capturing the feeling of being under the moon, because it's a great feeling. We should capture it if we can.
My instant thought, I was like, is there a way to capture the smell of the moment? I don't know why that's what I wanted.
Smells are powerful.
A 360 smell-o-vision moment, but of the smell of you looking at the moon.
I think that, that just reminds you of being like outside at nighttime. I think there's a specific thing there. Right. For me, it's writing.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. You can't beat that.
Can't beat that.
It's like super powerful.
Yeah.
I think like, what if it's like a selfie of you, and then like it's a video selfie, and then you switch the camera around and you focus on the moon.
that actually, I think that's great. Even better, you're not smiling in this photo.
Not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't smiling looking at the moon.
No, absolutely
Have you ever smiled looking at the moon?
I've never. Every time we look at the moon, instant neutral.
Can I be honest with you? I think the moon is treacherous.
Treacherous?
Yeah.
I think the moon is impossible to understand, and maybe there's a treachery in that, but I would never go so far as to assign it intention.
I think that a lot of people misunderstand and misapprehend the moon. People love the moon because of its ethereality and its like shining nothingness and how it's like endlessly there and never not. And it's like a perfect reminder of our cosmic significance or insignificance, depending on what kind of loser you are that I'm talking to. Mm-hmm. The moon is essentially treacherous.
Can you say more about that?
When you're looking at the moon, bad things can be happening to you. It looks down at you and it doesn't offer any sort of relief, doesn't reflect any sort of like life-giving energy or aura. It's a taunt. It's like the sun. Even if you're suffering under the sun, you're like, I understand that like the processes that the sun fuels are necessary for life on Earth to continue. The moon is completely, as you say, its neutrality is what makes it so treacherous. So, to be neutral in a war is to take the side of the oppressor.
So, not to bring science into this, because we don't believe in science in this podcast, but the moon controls the tides.
Yes.
So it does actually do something that is meaningful.
When's the last time the tide did anything for you?
You never been to a nice little sea before? Seen the ocean, saw the waves roll in on that shore, thought this is a beautiful moment, looked up at the moon, and thanked the moon for it?
All waves do are get in your way.
No, all waves do are make a beautiful crashing sound. It's like music to my ears.
You can get that without the moon.
Well, of course, I have a synthesizer in my bedroom.
Yeah, you can switch some water around in a cup.
Yeah, well, of course, but the most beautiful sound is
what do waves do?
Waves,
give me an answer.
They sound nice, that's all.
That's it, that's what they're for?
Not what they're for. Nothing is for anything.
Yeah, you'd be wrong for that.
I would not be wrong for that.
What is the moon for if not to let me down?
Okay, you're confusing looming with being loomed at. All the moon does is loom.
Right.
You might not like how that makes you feel, but that's not the moon's fault.
You ever been loomed over?
Yeah. I quite like it.
You do, but by a human, and not by an unknowable avatar of human insignificance.
Knowing is impossible, first of all. Second of all, there's nothing to know. The moon does not do anything but loom.
But what you're doing here is, instead of ascribing meaning to something, you're ascribing meaninglessness. You are purposefully making sure that nothing can be anything.
I suppose. I just think that there's nothing to understand with the moon.
Yeah.
There's nothing to get.
Yeah, and that's treacherous.
Oh, I just don't know. I don't think that is treacherous. I think it just is.
If anything, I think the moon is the cause of a lot of our problems.
Can you say more about that?
I think that so it acts on the tides, it must act on our feelings and the way our blood moves.
Okay, yes, and the moon does control our blood. I do have to agree with you there, right off the bat.
Right?
No, and I felt it.
If it works on every body of water, why not the water in your body?
So this is, I think, a lot of people have had this experience. But are you ever standing out under the moonlight and you look up and you make direct eye contact with the moon and you feel all the blood in your body rush into your head and you black out?
Yeah.
And you wake up several hours later and some parts of your clothing are missing?
Yeah, my phone's just on my face and it's like clear, like there's so many like pictures of the sky because I couldn't line it up with the moon because the blood was rushing.
And you did the thing where you took the selfie video where you're making a neutral expression.
But I look completely wild-eyed for whatever reason.
You try and replay the video and beyond looking wild-eyed, just it all cuts out to static.
Yeah.
And it's like the phone has lost time too.
Right. And so you're sitting here and you're hearing the way that the moon acts negatively upon you and your body and the way that you want to be. And you're telling me that that's not treacherous?
I look at that experience and I just go, I can't know what happened here. Could have been good. Maybe I lost my shoes because I was buying cuter ones.
But you lost that time. Mm-hmm. Much in the same way that a UFO abduction means you lose time. It's like a commonly reported side effect of an abduction. The moon is, if anything, abducting your consciousness.
All we know is that the moon has the time now. I don't think that's necessarily a good or a bad thing.
The moon has all the time in the world to plan future betrayal.
I think that much is true. The moon is definitely borrowing our time.
Yes.
And what it is doing with that, I think it's safe to say that it's probably going to betray somebody.
Right.
But
us now.
My relationship with the moon.
You ever see the moon during the daytime?
Yes.
Tell me that's not a betrayal. Tell me that a sacred boundary hasn't been crossed.
You know, I'm starting to see what you're saying about the moon's treachery.
It's a malignant force in our lives.
I think that the moon, you know, when you start to really peel back the layers of what the moon does and the way that it acts, it's a little bit more insidious than I think that I originally anticipated.
The greatest trick the moon ever pulled was convincing us that it didn't exist.
It's so true. I'm a moon truther now, and that I think that the moon is a right bastard child. Mm-hmm. I think the moon definitely steals my blood when I black out.
As we're having this conversation, I'm realizing just how valid it is to take pictures of the moon, so you can see exactly where that motherfucker is. Keep your eyes on it.
Wait. I just realized we just accept that the moon has phases.
Yeah.
That the moon it
disappears.
We
You let it out of our sight and it does shit to us.
For a while.
Yeah.
There's several days. Moon's not there anymore.
Oops.
We just and then it comes back.
And we accept it.
Where have you been?
And we're like, oh, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Of course it matters.
So, but when the moon's gone, the shit with the tides is still happening.
Yes.
I think we got lied to. Oh, I'll take care of the tides. Anyway, I'm gonna peace out for a couple days.
You don't need me.
Yeah, you don't need.
Don't look over here.
What about the ocean? It's gonna be fine. You don't need to know what I'm up to.
Trust me, says the moon. Can you trust a celestial body that awful?
I just keep thinking about fucked up shit about the moon. The moon has a dark side that has never seen light.
Yeah.
We let the moon have a dark side.
Anything could be happening up there.
All the moon has is secrets. We've been to the moon once and we're like, don't see anything. And then we're like, it's fine. We checked it out. We have left a lot of
That's
the moon.
part, maybe the U.S. government's in on it. They're upholding our belief. Oh, the moon, it's lifeless. There's lots of cool gravity. You play golf up there. What else do rich white men love doing but playing golf and lying?
Right. Wait, hold on. The door shuts on this meeting. Dude, I'm so fucking scared of the moon. We reassured them, but we have no fucking clue what is going on up there.
It does disappear. It's not there. We don't know why the tides keep going. What is it doing? It's purposefully getting in my life and making me drop a spoon at 2 a.m. and waking you up.
I've lost so much time. I've lost so much blood. Sometimes it gets so bright, it's so scary. I can see everything outside. Sometimes it's fucking gone. There's no way to explain it.
What if they found a tooth on the moon?
Moon tooth?
Yeah.
What if they found boots on the moon? We already have those moon boots. We've been missing all the signs. The moon is malicious.
I'm telling you, man.
I can't believe I've been missing all these details.
You were sitting here like, well, you could take a picture of the moon if you want.
We gotta set up cameras, a live stream, 24/7.
Yeah.
We need to get on Moonwatch.
It won't
right
look
now.
good, but it's necessary.
Listeners of Haha Yeah, if you could do me a quick favor tonight, I need you to go outside. I need you to step out into be far away from everyone else, social distancing, whatever. I need you to take a video selfie of you showing me that you're watching the moon in case it tries to pull any shit. I need to make sure that all eyes are on this moon.
At all times.
At all times.
We're marshaling the forces.
Yeah.
All 200 of you are going to be watching the moon.
I'm declaring war on the moon. Fuck it. We don't know where the moon is right now. We have not seen the moon.
No.
We got no eyes on the moon.
It's daytime. The moon. You see what I mean? It's not even.
The moon.
Not only does it disappear like once a month, it disappears during the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's extra time for it to be doing bullshit.
Oh shit. We don't see the moon most of the time.
Yeah.
The moon emoji's really bad too.
That one's actually pretty good. I like that.
Would you like to hear some of Hamburger Harry's hamburger jokes and riddles?
Yeah.
Okay, so for those not yet familiar with world famous Hamburger Harry is, according to his website, burgerweb.com, the proprietor of the world famous Hamburger Museum and the creator of the world's only custom hamburger Harley. He also has a hamburger bed and a cheeseburger water bed. I'm obsessed with Hamburger Harry.
He's incredible.
Hamburger Harry notes on his website that he, quote, would not say he's obsessed with hamburgers, far from the truth, but I'm obsessed with him, and I love him to pieces, and I want to share some of his hamburger jokes from the Let Us Laugh section of his website. But before we do that, I have a video intro for this.
Yeah, please.
The sky is the limit. Almost everything is made in the shape of a hamburger.
Oh my god. This is the music from the Blues Brothers.
Is it really?
I want you.
Anyway, it's time for the Hamburger Harry section of this podcast.
Yeah. I love him.
He's really, really
My
good.
uncle.
He's huge uncle energy. How do you insult a burger patty?
How?
Call it a meatball.
So many images rush to mind. You're a meatball.
The hamburger starts crying. Hamburger Harry's got some great jokes.
Yeah.
Should you eat your burger with your fingers?
Yes.
No, you should always eat your fingers separately.
But, wow. God, that's good.
What do you get when you play McDonald's Monopoly for 30 days straight?
You lose?
A heart attack. I'm not sure why. There was a little button that told me that there was like a news story or something, but I clicked it and nothing happened. So I actually don't know why.
A heart attack.
A heart
That's the
attack,
joke.
I guess, is what you get. How did Burger King get Diary Queen pregnant?
Very carefully.
He forgot to wrap his Whopper. That one's really bad.
Like, really sexual.
Some of them were a little, especially the Burger King ones got a little blue for my taste. Burger King is hot for whose buns, Wendy's or Dairy Queen's?
What the fuck kind of question is that? For Dairy Queen?
There was no answer listed.
It was just a prompt for a fic.
It just said A, nothing. I about stood up and cheered. Are you into fitness?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm into fitness. Fitness, whole burger, and mime.
That's a classic one. That's a good one. I love that.
It's so good. It's so good. So that's the. I mean, these are hamburger.
I can't take my eyes off that.
Yeah, no,
I'm really enamored
really
with
good,
it.
and I don't quite understand it.
I think that Hamburger Harry doesn't have uncle energy. Hamburger Harry has like guy that's always at the Burger King energy.
Of course.
Well, yes. I mean, 30 days worth. I have a lot of respect for him. Seeing him shake hands with people in that video really melted my heart.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, you are objectively foolish right now. You look like an idiot. You have a huge beard and you're inside of a motorcycle that looks like a realistic hamburger. It's not like he's sitting on top of it. He's like
in it,
inserted into it. Like a finger through the middle of a hamburger. That's what it looks like. And this guy's, the idea of him like pulling over and like, oh, can I shake your hand, sir? Like, I want to thank you for your patriotism, sir. It's so fucking funny.
I love Hamburger Harry. I think that Hamburger Harry embodies a kind of energy that all of us hoped Guy Fieri had.
Yeah.
Like, of just pure silliness. Hamburger Harry is just, for the irony age,
right.
he's the icon. I don't think that I will ever understand Hamburger Harry. I don't think that I can put myself in his shoes at all. Or
Right.
his motorcycle,
Yeah.
to be clear.
You can fit in there.
I mean, yes, no, it's like what it's like is the end of Fantastic Mr. Fox when Mr. Fox is driving by the wolf.
Yeah.
And they just make eye contact, and it's like, do they really understand each other?
Yeah.
I'm putting my fist up for Hamburger Harry all day long.
Absolutely. It's a good scene.
It's a good scene. It's a good film.
Yeah.
Anyway, I found these while doing research for my other podcast, Commune College. But we may revisit the Burger Web for more jokes in the future. I found some other blog content there that is really spectacular.
I'm looking forward to hearing
Yeah,
that.
there's a lot more to say about the Burger Web.
Right.
It's a great website.
And I can only imagine.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking forward.
Oh, yeah.
I'm hanging out with bated breath, with hamburger breath. I was like thinking the other day about like programming a robot to hold its breath.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was very funny because robots don't need to breathe.
Mm-hmm.
There's no question. I'm allowing you into the arena of the breath-holding robot. I've given you a ticket, and you can walk through the doors and take a seat if you want.
Okay.
And on the sandpit is me in a lab coat building a robot that can hold its breath.
So, I have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Does the robot feel like it needs oxygen?
It's a robot.
Okay, but you're programming it to...
I may be a very skilled scientist with access to a massive arena, but I'm not able to make a robot feel. It's not an AI. It's a robot that you turn it on and it goes, I'm going to hold my breath.
Okay, second question, how long?
I think this is where it gets interesting.
I just want to see how long it can go.
That's my thing. It's like I ostensibly could program that robot to hold its breath as long as the batteries are going, and it takes the batteries.
It does take batteries.
Yeah.
I'm imagining like, well, hold on. So I'm really looking into my own heart of darkness right now because what's making this tick for me is I want the robot to need air,
right?
And then I want to make it hold its breath.
But the beauty of it is that you can't know. Okay, so let me spin a very similar tale to you, a super similar universe, but with one key missing detail. I've given you a ticket, and you're entering an empty arena, and it's dark, and you have to take a seat, and the light turns on. I'm not there, but it is a robot, and it says, I'm going to hold my breath. What do you do?
Okay, the idea of a robot being like, I'm going to hold my breath, and then it holds its breath, and I'm like, I don't know what it's supposed to do, and you wait it out, and then it just falls over.
And then you get to the next part, which is if a human holds its breath, once it faints, it starts breathing again.
I guess it does. It's true.
And so, like, apparently that's something kids do sometimes. If they're
hold their breath till they pass out.
Yeah, it's like a thing they like when they're acting out. It's like some very young children sometimes will do that. But I'm not interested in human children. I'm interested in a robot.
This has really captured my attention. For me, this is about the social relationship between the robot and the inventor.
Yeah.
And it's about it's about the robot's obedience to the command of being told to hold its breath.
A robot's going to do what I tell it to do. It's a robot.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And we're not talking like an AI, or this isn't some Hitchhiker's Guide shit where it's a robot that can think and feel. It's like a monitor with the hands, you know? Mm-hmm. Plankton's wife.
I feel like I'm rotating so many 3D objects in my mind right now. Yeah, so...
Would you intervene?
How?
Well, again, you were in the arena. You have your popcorn.
I can't make the robot breathe.
Okay, but you don't know that. You're in the stands. You're looking around. You're like, it's holding its breath. Do you rush the stage?
The fact this is happening in an arena.
Yeah.
It creates a fourth wall that I don't think I'd feel comfortable breaking.
I feel that.
I would assume that this robot would not be.
It's doing a show.
Broadcasting its own suicide live unless I heroically intervene to save it from its own breath holding.
And I think this is maybe now we're getting somewhere. It's not committing suicide because it's a robot. It is just a pile of circuitry. And maybe it's our own, ability to project humanness onto the robot that makes us care so much that it's holding its breath. It would be even better as it starts holding its breath and like it opens its eyes and it's a countdown.
No.
10, 9,
if the robot starts pulling this shit on me, either I know that it does not need the air.
Right.
I am in a mindset of fight or flight. It is either a negotiation and the robot wants something from me that I have to get to it and quickly.
Right.
Or else it is a dangerous, life-threatening situation that I have to intervene with some other way.
So
even though it's not, like, of course it's not, it's a robot. It doesn't need the air. Right. My brain will not let me believe that.
Okay. I'm really glad we had this conversation because what we've actually just done is write a script for my Khan's indie film about the inventor of a robot that holds its breath and his wife and how much she hates that he's making a robot. And we have to cast it.
Okay. For the role of the robot...
Michael Cera. Jonah Hill's the husband.
And the wife.
It's 90 minutes. He's sitting in his room saying, I should make a robot that holds its breath. And then the marriage dissolves. Acting with himself as Michael Cera.
Okay, wait. Not Jonah Hill. Seth Rogen opposite Seth Rogen. Honey.
It's shot like super dramatically with the blue filter on the camera. So
what is this robot? I need to make a robot that holds its breath.
Why would you do that? It's the exact fucking transcripted script we just did.
It's all like it needs to breathe. It's a robot.
Alright, so get this. There's an arena. You have a ticket. You go, you sit down. Would you intervene?
I think that like a verisimilitude is like a fourth wall. Oh, Michael Cera. Hold my breath.
I'm gonna hold my breath. It's Michael Cera.
I'm gonna hold my breath.
What are you gonna do, honey?
The countdown starts. It's like, what are you gonna do?
It's the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Seth Rogen are the inventor.
Married. I don't know.
The movie's called Married. Call out to me.
Yeah, it's gotta
this
have
summer. Tell me I'm sorry. What if you just built the robot like that? Lights will guide you home. I can't believe that you're doing this. What are you talking about? It's so sick. I will try.
Footage of the door slamming and Seth crying.
Marriage.
Somebody please give us a budget. Please. That's what Marriage Story should have been about.
want Seth Rogen to make this himself in quarantine. Just on an iPhone. Could you imagine Seth Rogen just fully losing it? I gotta make a film while I'm in here. I'm losing it. What if a robot held its breath? It's called Mary.
Here's the thing. I almost ran this exact scenario with you, but the difference would be waking up with penguins for hands that hate you. It would have been the same thing.
That would have been way wackier.
You think
That's
so?
a Rowan Atkinson vehicle.
I saw a mask of Rowan Atkinson that somebody could wear to become him.
That sounds.
Isn't that terrifying?
That sounds.
Can you imagine your local Mr. Bean?
Here's what I want to say. It's quarantine times. We all gotta wear masks when we go outside. Now is the time to become Mr. Bean.
I totally agree.
Could you
He's
imagine?
the ultimate mask.
You are.
People are staying away from you because you're gonna do some bullshit.
So POV.
Yeah.
You are an underpaid, over-leveraged essential worker struggling to make ends meet in some of the most hellish times to be alive.
I'm already laughing.
the
Dude.
CVS is completely empty. The automatic door slides open, and in walks somebody wearing all black and a large Mr. Bean mask.
No, it's the Mr. Bean suit. It's the whole fucking shebang. With driving up the little green car. He's got his teddy bear. It's the whole Mr. Bean. And then you see him cross the Walmart, and there's clearly precariously piled food items. You're like, get the fuck out of our store before you set fire to it. And it's not even the real Mr. Bean.
You're working at the Walmart. The parking lot is empty. It's the night shift. You see the little green car parked at the front of the lot. And it's like, oh my god. And the door opens and it's Mr. Bean. The long walk into that Walmart.
How do you prepare for what's about to come? A storm is brewing.
Lock the doors. We're closed. We can't. It's a pandemic. We have to stay open. He stumbles a little bit in the parking lot. Almost gets hit by a car. Jesus.
Oh my god, I'm gonna cry. We should watch some Mr. Bean just to get some more ammo for this show.
Yeah, we really should. This is the world's first Mr. Bean fan cast. Not topical, but it is funny. This has been yeah.
You want to do a last question?
Absolutely.
So I keep seeing pretty things from my window. I saw the neighborhood cat stare at a car.
Oh, wow.
I saw a robin collect sticks for a nest.
That's really cute.
I saw an albino squirrel. Pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
I saw sleet bounce off the windows.
Oh, boy.
I saw a puddle dry up. This is not a joke. I saw a clown on a unicycle.
Really?
Riding down our hill.
That's spectacular.
I'm reminded of a book that I haven't read. It's called A Journey Around My Room. It was written in 1790 by a man named Xavier de Maistre. He was 27 years old and a soldier in the army of the Sardinian kingdom. It was then covered by swathes of modern-day northern Italy and southern France. He was an impetuous young soldier who was placed under house arrest in Turin for fighting an illegal duel. There was no record of what happened to the other guy. It was during the 42 days of his confinement here that he wrote the manuscript that would become A Journey Around My Room. I took the liberty of flipping through that book just a little bit, and it describes the most bored young man of all time, who sits in his room and just slowly and painstakingly explores it as if he'd never seen a room before for the first time. It was so delightful and so beautiful. I have a snippet here if you'd like
absolutely.
to hear. I've got a handful, but this is actually an excerpt from the end of the book. Delightful realm of imagination, which the benevolent being, capital B, God, those days, has bestowed upon man to console him for the disappointments he meets with in real life. This day, certain persons on whom I am dependent affect to restore me to liberty, as if they had ever deprived me of it. As if it were in their power to snatch it from me for a single moment, and to hinder me from traversing, at my own good pleasure, the vast space that ever lies open before me. They have forbidden me to go at large in a city, a mere speck, and have left open to me the whole universe, in which immensity and eternity obey me. I am now free then, or rather, I must enter again into bondage. The yoke of office is again to weigh me down, and every step I take must conform with the exigencies of politeness and duty. Fortunate shall I be if some capricious goddess do not again make me forget both, and if I escape from this new and dangerous captivity. If you think about it, what this man is saying is that by being let free, he was entering his next prison, his next isolation. It's just something that I've been reflecting on a whole lot lately as we've all been locked inside of our rooms and bored out of our skulls and frantically flipping. I would just encourage folks to take a moment and to try and explore their rooms as if they'd seen it for the first time. And follow the train of your thought as he does in this book. He starts thinking about his crush randomly, and he looks at a painting and imagines soldiers chasing the subject of the painting out of the frame. And he pictures, there's this one bit where he says, Xavier entertains a reverie about a white bear, a philosopher, a tiger, or some other animal of that sort, who climbs into the orchestra at a fashionable concert and urges the audience to slaughter. Let women too dip their timid hands in blood. This is around the time of the French Revolution, by the way. Leave, you are free. Tear down your king from his throne and your god from his sanctuary. Weren't they dancing in Paris 5 years ago? I'm thinking about that a lot now. Not necessarily about violence or revolution, but to like just allow your brain to explore the space as if it's never seen it before. It's a psychogeography in a space no longer than 10 by 10. I think that's something that's really worth doing.
I think that's spectacular.
If you have the energy to do so briefly around this room, to just stream of consciousness, explore things you've seen as if you've seen it for the first time.
I think that I've never actually looked too closely at your plant that you've maintained for a very long time. But I'm struck in this moment at like the reflectivity of elements of the room's kind of dim natural lighting off of the pot itself. I think that's really striking. And I'm interested in the way that it like warps the things around the room into like new and kind of exciting shapes. And specifically the underside of a credit card, which is next to that, which is also red, the silver and embossed details of the credit card are quite exciting to me compared to the kind of like white shimmering light that's being reflected in the basin of this plant's pot. Next to that is just a deck of playing cards, which is such like a weird object for 2020. Like everything these days is like so like all of the life has been massaged out of the design that we experience on a daily basis. Everything is like flat, geometric, humanist, sans serif typefaces and only the most like means tested colors available. And like a deck of bicycle cards is like rioting against that, and it's just unwillingness to change.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it is as ornate and over the top and showy as like I presume it was 100 years ago, and that is spectacular in its own way. The shade of blue is royal and kind of hurts my eyes a little bit in the most exciting way possible. And all of these objects are arrayed on kind of a muted, neutral, long green rug, which has all manner of other assorted books and cherry design handkerchief for face coverage and half burned candles and a wine bottle filled with water.
There's a whole life behind all of those things.
Absolutely.
Each one of those objects has its own teeming history, and it was brought into this room for X and Y reason by me. Who can even imagine why? But to tease that out and sit there and just write and write and write and imagine exploring the room, I think that's something that's worth just thinking about. Just exploring how, even though we're restrained and it feels restrained, there's an infinity in here.
Absolutely.
Things that we might have not even thought about. I brought in the playing cards because I thought it'd be fun to play those on a rainy day, even before this all went down. And since I've appreciated having it in the space as something that is like so pleasingly ornate and like not something that I would ever actually really do, and it just I think it looks pretty there on top of this. Sometimes I take it out of the thing and I just leave them like splayed around because I think it looks nice.
Oh god, that's such a jam.
I've left the credit card there because I brought it on the trip out to go buy something and I wanted to like leave it to disinfect. But you're so right that I've just like left it red next to the red planter of the pot. I chose the red because I thought it was so pleasing to the eye, and then I already had a yellow pot in my room and then a blue one with my other plant that you can't see behind the Doritos. And I brought those in there because I was hungry for something salty. But then, just these piles of books, some of which have been lent to me, some of which I've read myself, some of it that I've yet to read. And like, it implies so much about the space that I'm in and how I try to project myself and the things that I want to be doing. It's kind of, even thinking about it right now, I'm like, oh wow, like I really do have all those things there because I want to read them and because they're pleasing to me in some small way. It's fun.
It is very fun. Yeah. I think that people could get a lot out of that.
Yeah. Well, you got nothing better to do. So
Literally.
gorgeous. This has been Haha Yeah.
This has been Haha Yeah.
Thanks for listening. I'm Sel, by the way. I'm Sel. I live in this room
I'm Hyperlink. I'm in an adjacent room.
right next door. We hope you enjoy the show.
Mm-hmm.
That was a whack one. Wet and wild.
They all are.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
This show is a proud member of the Mastodon Podcast Network.